Welcome back, everybody. This is Dave the Gamer. Today, I wanted to take a look at the Phase 5 Best in Slot for Mages. I plan on doing this for each and every class, along with a deeper dive look at each class, their specs, and everything else in future videos. But like I said, for this one, we're looking at the Mage. This is my favorite website. WoW is classic. It gives you a ton of great information. It's not always 100% accurate, but it gives you a pretty dang good idea on what's the best in slot items. Obviously, these are the best, I think, possible items to get. Therefore, saying that, it could take months before you get that. So I'm going to tell you the items, the enchants, and then some alternative items that you want to get in the meantime while you're waiting to get these. So to start it off, the Head of Neff is still going to be best in slot for the mages, the Mind Flayer. So you definitely want to get your hands on that as soon as possible, especially if you're in BWL. Any items that carry forward into other phases, you want to do whatever you can, spend your DKP, get those items now so you have your DKP for actual AQ items later on. A lot of guilds will reset their DKP when a new phase comes out, so knowing this information, Nefarian Mind Flayer head immediately. And you want to enchant it with the enchant from ZG, giving you that extra % hit. And as an alternative to this, you'd be looking still at the tier 2 helm off Oni, which is a great tier piece. Or if you are ranking, then you could get the rank 10 helm. Moving on to the neck. So the Emperor drops an excellent neck, and an alternative to this one you'd be looking at would be the Choker of the Fire Lord, or you can get the Talisman Necklace in ZG that has some nice hit off it. So either one of those two would be a great alternative to this. Obviously, this one's amazing with the crit. Crit's going to be very crucial coming into the fire specs now to keep that ignite rolling. Moving to the shoulders, Mantle of Black Cabal. This is another one, if you're still in BWL, maybe this is something you want to get your hands on now. Seeing that next phase, it's still going to be best in slot. And once again, you're going to be enchanting it with the ZG Shoulder Enchant, plus 18, which is excellent. I don't have really any other recommendations on this one besides you could get the tier 2 shoulder helms for Mage in the meantime, which is a great shoulder. For your back, you're going to be getting this off Cthulhu, and this one's a nice upgrade. It's not a massive upgrade from what you can get from ZG, which is the plus 23 Cloak of Consumption. So this one I would put a little bit lower on my priority list on something I'd be going for, since, like I said, ZG's fast reset time. I would rather get the Cloak of Consumption and worry about some of the other items we're going to be going over. And with this one, you could now get the 2% decreased threat. So they're finally going to be giving us a little threat reduction as far as an enchant. Moving on to the shoulders, Robe of Volatile Power. This is actually, we're seeing this come back as the best in slot because of the crit once again for fire spec. This comes out of MC. A lot of people already have their hands on this. If you didn't have this and you're just looking for a quick fix, the Bloodvine set is still a great overall set. You just got to really manage how much hit you have overall. If you're going to go Bloodvine, you want the full 3-piece with 300 tailoring, so you're able to get that 2% crit there. With all of the items shown on here, you're going to hit 10% hit on the gear, 6% from your talent, so you're going to be hit capped. So if you do add Bloodvine in, which is 4% hit total if you have the whole set, you can sub out some of the other pieces that you might be using to in return add more damage. So if you have this, great, it's a great piece to add, and you're going to put the plus 4 stats on there for the greater stats as the enchant. Rock Fury Bracers. This is going to be an excellent bracers that's going to be actually due from a quest in Silithus. You need to get, I believe, exalted with the Circle Tribe out there, which is not too bad. I actually have a rep video on how to build rep with them and you want to get that taken care of now, so as soon as phase 5 is released, you can go run out, get these bracers as soon as possible, and you're going to be putting greater intellect on those. So with the bracers, I don't have an alternative because this is pretty much mandatory. It's not that hard to get that rep up, so just don't be lazy, go get that handled now. Going to the gloves. So these Darkstorm gauntlets are excellent gloves overall. They're coming off Cthulhu. Cthulhu has a lot of great items that mages are going to want. And I mean, it has the hit on it, everything else. Alternative to this is where I could go with the Neverwing gloves that has 20 spell power, 1% crit. I would go with those gloves. Like I mentioned, if you went with Bloodvine set and you didn't need the hit, you could sacrifice the hit on the gloves to get the crit from Neverwing as an alternative. So you can play around with a lot of these items. A lot of them is going to be constantly moving around based off what other items you just got. And with the gloves, you're going to finally be able to get the firepower enchant, which is awesome. 20 spell power to fire. So that's, a gold making tip. Every single mage is going to want this enchant. So, stock up on some of the needed things like the Essence of Fire. Will definitely see a spike in price along with the large brilliant shards, as every single person's going to be going for that enchant because it's a must. It's a must chant. For the belt, you're going to be they're finally replacing the Mana Ignite, which is a great alternative to this one. And of course, dropped off Cthulhu. But the Mana Ignite, 1% crit, 25 spell power. This belt is substantially better. 16 more spell power overall, so that's a heck of a boost, and this is definitely one that you want to get your hands on. Little fun fact, I believe this is the only item that is going to carry forward through phase 6, so not a bad one to prioritize because you're going to be keeping this one a while. Moving on to the legs, the Black Blizzard. These are excellent legs. Now, something as an alternative, like I said, if you were going to Bloodvine path, you go Bloodvine. If you're just getting into raiding and, kind of want to gear up as quickly as possible, Bloodvine 3-piece is excellent. Alternative would be the Neverwind pants, which has the 1% crit that drops off Ragaros. So he has great pants, but these ones have a lot more spell power. So you're going to be hanging on to these for a while. And with these, you're going to be enchanting them with the 1% hit enchant from ZG. Now the boots, Enigma boots. These boots, I mean, as you see, it has the hit there, mana restore, which is excellent, and good spell power. Once again, an alternative would be the Bloodvine boots that have a little bit less spell power, still gives you the hit, but doesn't give you the mana regen. So these boots are great. You could also sub these out, depending on how much hit you have with boots that have crit and get a little bit more damage out of that. Moving on to the rings. The Ring of Chaos, excellent, has 1% crit. So we're starting to finally get some rings that have some more, has crit and good spell power. Alternatives to these, you could either go with the ZG rings. So you got the Ring of Chaos, which has the 1% crit. And then you have this one that has the 1% hit and lots of spell power. And the alternative to these two, comes to mind 3 different rings for me. You get the ZG ring that has 23 spell power. You could get the Ring of Spell Power that has 33 spell power. Or you can still stick with your Band of Force Concentration with the 1% hit. So like I said, it all comes down to if you need the hit or not. But those are some rings to use in the meantime while you're waiting on these rings. Some of the best trinkets still going from phase 4 to phase 5. The Nef's tier actually makes it through phase 6, so this is something you want to make sure you really get your hands on now. The Nef tier and the Mind Quickening gem are both trinkets that you're going to be seeing for a while, and you're not battling. The Mind Quickening gem, most mages will end up getting their hands on that. And the Nef's tier is the hardest one because everybody wants that one. So 4 alternatives to the trinkets you're going to be looking at. If you're just starting to get into raiding, you're looking at the Briar Reed and the class trinket for mages. And then a step up would be the ZG trinket. which is turned in. You turn in the heart on the island to get the ZG trinket. That's a pretty good one. Boost the spell power when you use it. And then past that would be the MC Talisman trinket, which is better than the ZG trinket. So depending on if you're just starting or if you already have a couple items, those are some items to get while you're waiting for the tier to drop. Moving on to the weapon. This weapon is a powerhouse item. So personally myself, I have not been trying to get the Staff of Shadow Flame. Instead, I want to get the main hand and offhand, because I mean, just this main hand is pretty damn close to what the Staff of Shadow Flame is. Staff of Shadow Flame, I believe, is 84 spell power, 2% crit. So this isn't far off. And then when you combine it with the Royal Scepter, you're actually a good bit over what the Staff of Shadow Flame can actually produce, especially giving you that. It gives you more spell power and it gives you that percent of hit. Now, if you already have the Staff of Shadow Flame, there's some other things. I wouldn't worry about getting these because it's not that drastic of an increase that you should be swapping these out. As always, you get the 30% spell damage on there, and alternatives to, if you did want to go offhand, main hand, and you didn't get the Staff of Shadow Flame, in the meantime, you could go with the Mage Blade. That's 40 spell power, 1% crit. I mean, like I said, that's 32 spell damage less. That's a big difference, but it's a good alternative in the meantime. Moving on to the Touch of Chaos, or to the wand, Touch of Chaos, which comes out of ZG. This wand is just an excellent wand, and with ZG on such a fast reset rate, there's no reason that everybody shouldn't get their hands on Touch of Chaos. Really, if you're just getting into raiding, something you'd be looking to get, you could pick up a plus 11 spell power wand off the auction house for 30-40 gold. So you could definitely go that way if need be, before you started getting into ZG. But I recommend getting into ZG because you're going to be picking up, you have to do ZG. ZG is going to be giving you your wand. It's going to be giving you all of your enchants. It gives you a ton of alternatives from, your back pieces, your rings, and it's definitely a valuable raid to get into before you plan on stepping into AQ. Now, one thing I didn't mention is I'm going to make a whole separate guide on all the nature resist gear that you will want to craft for AQ. So that's going to be a whole separate video because there's a lot of different items, but it comes into play that you need to get the exalted rep in Silithus that you're already going to have for the bracers. So you're just going to be crafting that gear, which is going to be needed on a couple of the fights. Some think that it's not really as needed for casters, mainly melee DPS in the tank. But I have conflicting, people say conflicting things on that. So I'd love to hear some feedback on if you think we need as much nature resist. Now, with my guild being a loot council, we actually have a spreadsheet where all of the items are uploaded, and you basically put them into whatever your highest priority is. And then when something drops, they look at the list. All right, who's number one? Who does it benefit the most? So to give you an idea of what my top 3 priorities are going to be as far as items I want in AQ, since I don't have the Staff of Shadow Flame, I'm going to be going for the main hand, the offhand, and the belt. Like I said, the belt is BIS all game. So I would really want to get the belt right off rip and then worry about these two. Now, if you do have the Staff of Shadow Flame, I would be putting my prio list as the belt, the pants, and then either the gloves or the rings, depending on what you already have. So now that you know all of the exact items that you want to be hunting for in Phase 5 and some alternatives, I want you to take a look up in that top right corner there. That video is going to show you the best 3 specs for mages, and you're really going to be focusing on the fire spec now that we're coming into AQ. And as always, guys, though, game on.